Hey, Obi Trades! I noticed that Soundhound and Celsius were on the bar chart straddle and for Celsius the strangle screen. And I also noticed that both of them appeared they put in highs right before the second quarter began, and they could be putting in lows right before the third quarter begins. So this kind of very advanced technical analysis based on quarterly rotations. I just kind of give it out for free because I don't really care. This is what I had for Soundhound in my own personal notes. We see it had gone pretty far past that target. We're going to look at my public notes right now. I think that institutions are buying this 4-strike straddle at a very strategic time. 1.49. Look at this high though, right here. 3/14/2024, right before the March quad witching date. And then of course we can see what may happen right before the June quad witching date for both of these stocks. So very important to take notes of these quarterly changes. That is something that, no matter how by the book someone wants to play it, all of the financial professionals acknowledge quad witching. And they call it quad witching because some spooky stuff tends to happen after these dates. Let's make sure we've got the right high for Soundhound for wave 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at this highest high on the RSI textbook for this impulse. Shallow wave 4 and a wave 5 that ends with momentum divergence. Just like in the books, I'm going to go ahead and measure the time fibs of this small wave 1 and see what it gets. It did have a 5 time. Look at that hit on the 5 time frame right there. Very nice low. And then the 8 time frames coming around. Anyway, let's see if we get all of wave 1. See, notice where that 8 time frame was. We see the 2 time frame when we measure all of wave 1. So anyway, both of those lines were in the second quarter. I thought it was interesting that the time fib for the wave 5 was right here at this low. I'm looking for a wave 3 to begin. One, two, three, four, 5 waves up. Wave 1, wave A. The retracement to the wave 2, a wave B. Consolidation zone between the 61.8 and 78.6% fib. I'm looking for 3.36 to hold. I think 3.50 is going to hold as well. And looking within the cycle from this low, the bulls are going to look for this to be a small wave 1 and a small wave 2. Really, it's probably going to be a different degree than this black wave 1 and wave 2. I'll keep them the same colors. Some people don't like when I put too many colors on the chart. And if it extends into another degree, I'll make it blue. So yeah, I'm looking for 1, 2, wave 3 of wave 3 to begin for Soundhound. Notice this right at the March quad witching, the highs put in. I'm looking for right before the June quad witching for this low to be put in. 3.36 to 3.50 to hold, and for wave 3/wave C to begin in the larger degree and also the smaller degree time frames for Soundhound. So very interesting. Now let's look at Celsius. I know this is a really popular stock. Institutions are buying strangles on it. Institutions are buying strangles on Celsius. And from an Elliott Wave perspective, they were buying the 62 strike call and they were pairing it with the 60 strike put. And so we'll see. It's not currently on the screen right now. It was a few minutes ago, which is why I made this video. But let's look at Celsius right now. I'll get these time fibs right. It's a really interesting time. Again, look at this high right here, 3/14, almost the exact same day as Soundhound time. I'm not saying there's a correlation there, but getting the rotation out of Celsius and Soundhound right before the second quarter, and of course, what were some beneficiaries of these rotations. I think Apple would be, an answer right off the top of my head. And did the money go directly from Celsius to Soundhound, or the MM's going to give you guys a receipt for that? No, that's did they go directly from Celsius and Soundhound to Apple and GameStop? It probably wasn't that direct of a transaction, but the market. Wyckoff said, view it all as one trader, and I think right now this one trader is looking for Celsius and Soundhound to get their rotation back the third quarter. The idea is that they digested these gains, and so now there's not, they're ready to go. They're ready to go higher, and we'll look at the psychology of these Elliott wave corrections. If I can get this high put in, this low is 67.27 and 98.85. So from this high, we see the 127.2% extension. I don't think that's a coincidence that that's where that little doji candle was put in. I think that this is an ending ABC correction, and that's why the institutions are buying strangles on this stock. So that's kind of the most textbook aspect of the count. It's an ABC correction right at the 127.2% extension of the length of wave A placed at the wave B high, and exactly at the 78.6% fib, 59.32, is where this correction ends. Now, I think personally, I'm timing the bottom, just to be frank with you guys. I think that I'm timing the bottom so well that there isn't really a useful invalidation right now. I've said that can happen when it's just kind of the perfect bottom call, that when you look at the chart, it's going to be hard to find useful invalidation levels. Everything about a stock like this is going to be difficult at an actual super cycle low. I think this would be a primary low, primary wave 2. Yeah, typically if it all fits on the 9-month, 1-year chart, that's the primary degree. Where did that wave 2, wave B go anyway? So it looks a little uncanny to me. Soundhound and Celsius both topping, putting in their perfect peaks right before the second quarter starts. So they get all those gains locked in for their fund manager report cards. And people will still talk about the random walk. Well, I talked about Apple getting a big rotation into the second quarter. That certainly happened. I've talked about Nvidia getting money flown out of it in the third quarter. I think Celsius and Soundhound, we're going to see money flow into them for the third quarter. 56.70, a little wide. To be honest, it's the only useful invalidation right now. I think that's because I'm timing the bottom. 48.24 would be that wide weekly, monthly invalidation from a risk-reward perspective. I think it's still there. I think it's still there. That 99.62, let's just make sure I've got my fibs right, and that we actually don't have a great downside level. 48.11. Yeah, so the 78.6% fib right where it ends at the 127.2% extension. I do believe this is where wave 2, wave B is going to end. 56.70. I think that's a little tight. 48.11 is a little wide, but there's no Goldilocks level at the bottom, and there aren't any bears either.